Last night we received another Counter-Strike 2 update, which means that over the past couple of days we have received 3 updates in total, which is honestly pretty good to see. Apologies for being a little bit later than usual with the update video. I was quite busy, so I was unable to finish recording the video. As always, of course, timestamps are in the description down below, so if you want to skip ahead, feel free to do so. Starting off with the changes from the 10th of October, which were mainly aimed at fixing some issues with matchmaking and the Premier mode. For matchmaking, matches will now be made with similar rating differences between the teams at the expense of longer queue times, and for Premier we have received changes to the relegation and promotion matches, which will only occur at color boundaries, as an example every 5000 CS rating points, and they've also increased the possible CS rating win and loss amounts to move players faster after calibration. I would really like to hear how your experience has been so far after these updates for matchmaking and of course the Premier mode as well. My personal experience has been a bit of a mixed bag with some positive and negative impressions regarding both modes, so I would really like to hear your opinion of course as well. Moving on to the changes from the 12th of October, which were definitely the more important changes, starting off with gameplay related changes. When a server disagrees about a player's loadout, such as when a match starts during a patch, the buy menu will now reflect the server authoritative loadout, which seems like a pretty good change. As far as I'm aware, previously the server would have chosen a default loadout instead, but now this should no longer be the case. They fixed the case where players could clip through ceilings. However, it seems like they didn't fully fix this because on Vertigo this is still a problem after the update, which is extremely problematic in my opinion, and Valve definitely needs to address this as soon as possible, especially with esports tournaments approaching as well now. Maybe Valve fixed a specific instance of this issue, however it seems like on a lot of maps this is still possible, which like I said is quite problematic. And they've also made adjustments to character shaders to improve player visibility. Unfortunately, I ended up losing the footage from before the update, which I'm quite sorry for, so we do not have a direct comparison here, but it seems like there's a slight improvement to player visibility, especially on longer distances. Moving on to the animation changes, Valve apparently fixed the smooth criminal foot pinning bug. A little side note, the official Counter-Strike 2 Twitter account changed their banner to this, which I think is a pretty nice way of handling this situation. However, I would like to point out that this issue still seems to be present in the game, since a lot of players are reporting it still after this update, which means that Valve didn't fully fix this. They've adjusted the team select and team intro knife animations to work with shadow daggers, which I didn't notice was an issue, but I'm very glad they fixed it. Moving on to the miscellaneous changes, they've added the player color option to the HUD color setting, but it will make your HUD match the player color in competitive modes, or of course the person that you're spectating. So let's say in a competitive match you have the color purple, then your HUD elements and the buy menu will reflect this color. The same of course applies for the radar. Valve also added the large player count setting to replace player avatars with the team player count, which is very great to see. This was definitely something I was personally waiting for, and something else they didn't mention in the patch notes is that they've made some improvements in general to the user interface, which you can see in the top as well. If you just have the regular avatars turned on, you can also see the player count a lot better than previously. They fixed the bug where the graffiti changes mid-match were delayed, and they've also made some improvements to the workshop tools, which you can see on screen right now. Moving on to the various bug fixes and tweaks to weapon finishes and stickers, some of the weapons I've noticed have received some changes are, as an example, the M4A4 Eye of Horrors, which you can see in the background right now. This is how it looked like before the update, and this is how it looks like now. The Printstream skins have finally received some sort of pearlescent effect back, however it's a very subtle pearlescent effect that isn't visible on all maps as an example, so there's definitely still room for improvement here, but it's a good step in the right direction. Last but not least, of course, let's go over the map changes, and this time around we have received various bug fixes and tweaks to Inferno, Mirage, Nuke, Overpass and Vertigo. Starting off with Inferno, which has received the most amount of changes, we will start on B-side Inferno this time around. As you can see in the background footage, the fountain has received some adjustments to its water level, which is now a bit shallower than before, as well as this wooden part, which has been slightly moved on coffins. Moving over to Library, which has received some visibility improvements, they've added these brand new wooden planks, as well as add this brand new shelf here, which you can see in the background footage once again. They've also made some changes to short on A side, which you can see right now. They've removed the chair and also the window to most likely help with visibility, and just remove some of the clutter that was there previously. On second mid, they've added this brand new lamp under the bridge to most likely once again help with visibility, and the same has been done near T-spawn in the market area where they've added a brand new light. On Mirage, they once again removed one of the self-boosts that was previously possible on A side. This time the firebox self-boost has been removed. As you can see, this is how it previously looked like, and after this most recent update, this is no longer possible. Nuke has received some slight adjustments to its lighting on B side. Moving over to Overpass, which has lost its leaves that were falling near A side as an example, and I believe also near T-spawn. These often confused me and I was mistaking these leaves as a flashbang, which I'm very happy now that they've removed these effects, as in my opinion they were a bit distracting. Moving over to Vertigo, where I wasn't able to find too many major changes here, there were some slight differences in a couple of areas, but nothing noteworthy. So a few changes this time around that will hopefully improve visibility, which I think is pretty great to see. Last but not least, of course, let's cover the changes from the 13th of October, the update we received last night. Valve made it so the accept match pop-up will now show the server information if latency is notably high. I think this is a really great change and definitely very beneficial. They fixed the bug where the ping calculations were incorrect in Sydney, which resulted in players connecting to distant data centers. They've also added a list of the nearest official data centers under the max acceptable matchmaking ping setting, which is really fantastic in my opinion, a change I wasn't personally expecting, but a very helpful one at that. They fixed an issue regarding perfect world, and also fixed the diffuser not showing up on the scoreboard, which was pointed out by some users. Last but not least, we have received various bug fixes and tweaks to agents, gloves, and stickers. For agents, I didn't really spot too many significant changes here, however some gloves now once again appear basically factory new in battle-scarred conditions, which is something that happened quite a while ago. I'm pretty sure this will be fixed very soon again, but it is just something I wanted to point out. For stickers, Valve finally addressed the issues regarding the glitter stickers where they had a white outline, which made them look pretty bad in my opinion. As you can see, this is how it looked before the update, and this is how they look like now after the update, which is very good to see. I would also like to point out that the RMR stickers have received a very significant nerf. This is how they look like before the update, which was pretty incredible to be honest, and this is how they look like now. They're basically back to how they look like in CSGO. Something that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes is that Valve has now changed the main menu settings button for the scenery options a couple of times with each of these updates. This is how the button initially looked like, this is how it looked like after the update from the 12th of October, and this is the final version now after the update from the 13th of October. Pretty nice. And that's going to conclude today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope it was informative. Thank you so much for watching it, and I will see you of course in the next one. Bye guys.